What is up, guys? Rick Cactus here, and today we have the complete guide for how to get the Thorn Exotic Hand Cannon just added into Destiny 2 with the Season of the Drifter. No, we aren't just clickbaiting the database. I actually got this weapon, so we're going to showcase every single step along the way to complete this exotic quest, as well as provide a bunch of tips and strategies to help you complete this quest as easily and as quickly as possible. And so, let's get started. And first things first, let's take a look at the brand new Destiny 2 Thorn. Its main exotic perk is Mark of the Devourer. Rounds pierce targets and deal damage over time, just like in Destiny 1. But there's a twist. Kills with this weapon leave behind remnants, and you'll see this in the background gameplay. Every time I get a kill, it leaves behind a weird glowing green orb. Now, this involves the other unique perk of the Thorn, Soul Devourer. Absorbing a remnant strengthens Mark of the Devourer and partially refills the magazine. And you can see those two perks working in the gameplay. Every time I pick up a remnant, I get 10 seconds of the buff, and the buff pretty substantially increases damage output. In fact, in PvP, this thing goes from a 3 headshot kill to a 2 headshot kill. That's pretty good. And partially refilling the magazine is also very, very advantageous. Also, you'll notice that the remnants actually slowly come towards me. I don't have to necessarily go all the way to them to pick them up. However, I do have to be within a short radius for them to start pulling towards me. But that's this weapon, the Thorn from D1 with a unique twist involving these remnants. Now let's get on to how to acquire this weapon. Well, for starters, everyone thought you went to the Drifter. That's not the case. In fact, there's really no markings of where to begin this quest. You're going to have to make your way to the European Dead Zone and head up north from the Trossland into the salt mines. Now, once you're here, you simply make your way, just like you see me in the background, to this teleporter here. Again, this is not marked. You're just going to have to know this, and you stand on this teleporter. It's going to teleport you to a different location. Run up the side of this cliff, and then you're going to see your way forward blocked by one of the fallen barriers. You don't go in here, however. You continue going straight alongside more cliffside, even thinner cliffside, and you find this new kind of hidden camp. Here, there's going to be an interactable object, which is just a pile of rubble, and it says search the ashes. Do this, and you're going to get the first step to begin this exotic quest. Now, after that, you're going to have to go to the tower and talk to the gunsmith Banshee 44. He's going to update your quest step yet again, and now you have to gather 50 Hadronic Essence, and you do so by completing 3 different activities. You can do bounties for Asher Mir on Io, you can defeat warlocks in the Crucible, or you can complete Nightfall Strikes. And it says specifically that Nightfall Strikes grant the most efficient progress. Actually, each different activity is going to award a different value out of this 50 essence gathered. So if you do one of the quests from Asher Mir, you're going to get 5 out of 50. So actually, the most efficient way to do this is to do 3 Nightfalls. Remember, they're just completions. It does not matter the score at all. So put on the easiest Nightfall, anything that involves the Curse of Osiris, where you can just run through the infinite forest, like the Tree of Probabilities, which it is this week, very, very fast, and just put the easiest modifiers on, heavyweight, a burn, whatever you want to do, and just run through 3 Nightfalls. That'll give you 45, and then, instead of doing a 4th Nightfall, just do 1 of Asher Mir's bounties to get 50. I would strongly recommend not going after warlocks in the Crucible, because it's something you can't control. You could go up against a team that's all hunters. There might be only 1 warlock and all he does is hang in the back of the map with a bow, right? So it's something that is really going to vary from game to game. Doing 3 Nightfalls and then 1 bounty is going to go a lot smoother for most people. In any event, once you have 50 essence, your quest is going to update on its own, and this time you have to gather 50 plasteel plating, and you do so by again 3 different options. Number 1, doing bounties for Sloan in Titan, or you can defeat Titans in the Crucible, or you can do Heroic Blind Well. And Heroic Blind Well, it says, is going to be your biggest gathering of this resource. So it's going to award the most. Just like last time, the bounties are going to award 5, and a little bit different than last time, but the heroic blind well completions are going to award 10. But it's very easy, especially with the state the game is at now. If you have a Warlock, throw on Cataclysm Nova Bomb and the Skull of Dire Ahamkara, and you're going to beat this in absolutely no time. You are going to need to buy tier 3 and tier 4 activations like the Unstable Thing of Light and a tier 3 activation consumables from Petra in order to do this. Like if you show up with nothing, you got to rely on other people, which is definitely possible. This quest is going to make a blind well pretty lit for the first while at least, so maybe you can bum a few completions off someone, but still make sure you're stocked up on the proper consumables to get this done. Now, in this instance, the math works out in a way that you want to do only 2 Sloan bounties and then 4 blind wells or just 5 blind wells. Doing all 3 Sloan bounties, you're going to get 5 extra floating around. It's just a complete waste of time. Only do 2 and then head over to blind well. Again, I would recommend against the Crucible. It's just too inconsistent. And once you've gotten all 50 plates, your quest step is going to update yet again with another similar objective. This time you have to get 50 Sapphire Wires, and you do so by completing bounties for Anna Bray on Mars, or by defeating hunters in the Crucible, or by completing Escalation Protocol waves. And it says Escalation Protocol waves grant the most efficient progress. But that's kind of true. Every time you beat an escalation wave, it's going to award you with 5 wires. So it's exactly the same as doing Anna Bray's bounty. Now, thankfully, Anna Bray's on Mars and Escalation Protocol is on Mars. So absolutely worth it to grab all 3 of her bounties and do those whilst you're also completing Escalation Protocol. That's going to be the most efficient way, and it works out that you can do all 3 of her bounties for 15 and then get 35 points for doing all 7 ways of escalation, and you're done. However, it is important to note that you don't actually have to ascend the waves. If you're by yourself or you're struggling with escalation, remember that you can just do wave 1, 2, and 3, and then if 4 is a little bit too hectic, stop. Travel to the whatever area you're not at in Mars and start again. And then you can just do waves 1, 2, and 3 again and get 5 for each of those. So you can just do wave 1 over and over and over again, if you're having trouble. So that's something to keep in mind if you are, a little bit lower in the light levels and so on. Also, quick tip I'm sure is going to help a few people. Even though Anna Bray's bounties right now say just arc kills and void kills, it's actually arc and void ability kills specifically. If you put on an arc weapon and get a bunch of kills, you're going to look at your bounty and it's going to be 0% progress. Keep that in mind. And after you have gotten 50 wires, the quest is going to become a lot more grindy, and for some of you, extremely tedious. So you have to get to 100% connection strength, and it says, defeat guardians in the Crucible using void energy or hand cannons. Precision streaks using void hand cannons grant the most efficient progress. Note that progress is multiplied in the Iron Banner or in competitive Crucible matches. So, you can either go in with something like a Graviton Lance, a Pulse Rifle, whatever you want, as long as it's void and you're going to make progress towards this quest. However, we sacrificed a lot of time doing experiments while we were trying to complete this, so I have a lot of information to help you guys hopefully get this done efficiently. First and foremost, like I said, you can just go full void energy, change your subclass to void, all of that stuff, but it doesn't actually seem to give you that much progress. For example, when I used the Graviton Lance and slayed out, got, well over 30 kills, I got around 4%. However, when I was using a Void Hand Cannon, I got around 7%, even though I did not do as well as my Graviton round. I did not get anywhere near 30 kills. So, less kills, more percent increase. And that's seemingly because it gives you the highest bonus for getting kills with a Void Hand Cannon. And of course, if you do get precision streaks, that gives you even more bonuses. So, what good Void Hand Cannons are there? Well, there's 2 specifically from year 1 that are both in the 180 archetype. You can get them from your collections and start using them. One is something like a Cold Sweat. It's the old Trials of the 9 energy hand cannon, and the other one is the Ikelos hand cannon you got from the Warmind expansion. That is extremely easy to get. If you don't have it, you can basically start the main campaign for Warmind and you'll get it almost instantaneously. It's one of the first things awarded, and it's the 180 archetype, which is the most desirable hand cannon archetype. It's void. It even has Rampage, which is not even that bad. You're going to see a lot of this Ikelos hand cannon during the first week the Thorn is out. We ran into it a lot from other people trying to do this quest, so that is definitely what I would recommend if you want a solid void hand cannon. Of course, if you have anything from Forsaken that's randomly rolled that you enjoy using, use that instead. But if you don't, there you go. Now, something else important to consider is the whole bonus for doing Iron Banner or competitive. Obviously, Iron Banner is not around, otherwise it would be the most efficient to farm that, but competitive, well, it's kind of a tricky situation. Every kill awards something like 1% or a little bit less towards your progress, so technically, if you go into comp and you slay out, that is going to give you the most progress. However, there's a downside, and that is a lot of the comp game types are not indicative of slaying out. For example, we went in there and we got stuck with a game type where you didn't automatically revive, and that meant there just wasn't a lot of kills to go around. We slayed out and went 5-0 against the other team and only got around 5% progress, whereas in quick play, we were getting 7 to 10% pretty consistently. So that's something you have to balance with yourself, with your teammates, all of that stuff, that comp can technically give you the highest rates of progress. But if you're not a huge PvP player, I would actually recommend sticking away from it. Not only is the competition fierce and people are not going to give you a break if you're using a non-competitive gun like the Ikelos hand cannon, they're still going to be using their Not Forgottens, that's for darn sure. But also, it takes so much longer to matchmake, that's another factor, and you're just going to have game types where there's not very many kills to go around. But of course, in the end, it's up to you. Now, once you do slog through the Crucible and get to 100% connection strength, your quest step is going to automatically update, and then you're going to have to go to somewhere you haven't been for a very long time, the farm, and talk to the Cryptarch there. Once you do that, you're going to get a new quest step, the Chasm of Screams, where it says defeat the Arbiters Sadiv and Talesh, then defeat Savathun's song in an epic reprise of the Strike, Savathun's song on Titan. So open up Titan, there actually isn't anything that necessarily pops up, just look for the Strike that's kind of in the center of your screen, as you can see right here, and it's called Chasm of Screams. It's not called, normal Savathun's song. However, it's not your average Strike, as you probably expected, and there are 3 modifiers you really want to be aware of. Number 1, Iron. Enemies have more health and are not staggered by damage. Number 2, Blackout. Enemy melee attacks are significantly more powerful and radar is disabled. There are a lot of thralls. Blackout is something to really be aware of. And lastly, Harsh Elements. Incoming damage from Arc, Solar, and Void sources is greatly increased. So basically, all incoming damage does more. So you're going to die a lot easier, and the overall recommended power level of the Strike is 660. Now, for the most part, things feel like you're doing a Nightfall version of Savathun's song. Things definitely hit harder, you're gonna die a little bit more often, you really gotta be aware of Blackout for sure, so go out of your way to kill thralls, seriously, and do not let them bunch up. Don't focus on DPSing when you see or hear thralls coming towards you. Focus on those thralls, they are going to be hugely problematic. But the difference in this Strike, everything is totally normal. It's a Savathun song until the very end, once you are on the last stage of the boss, and the giant shrieker goes into the very back, and you're going to have to shoot a crystal and take it up to that upper platform. Then 2 big bad boss knights are going to spawn, one on the right and one on the left. As you can see in the background gameplay, you have to kill both of these to complete this special strike, so get on that. A Nova Bomb does just fine. They aren't necessarily that tanky, but it's something to be aware of. Don't, shoot your last rockets into a Savathun, or I should say the Giant Shrieker, just before it's going to go into that final damage phase, and then you're going to have nothing to deal with these knights, so just be aware of it. And the second you kill that Giant Shrieker, which can clearly shoot behind cover apparently. I mean, look at this. I'm so far behind this pillar. Anyways, the second you kill it, you'll be instantly awarded the Thorn Exotic Hand Cannon. And you're done. Congratulations, use it, go buck wild in PvP or PvE. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.